Well, it's going ahead as planned. Donald Trump, as of this afternoon, was finalizing what he's going to unveil tomorrow. It's going to be a major event in the Rose Garden to start around 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is after when the markets close. A big celebration to make America wealthy again. That's what they're describing the event at the White House. For the first time, we're going to learn some details, some specifics about tariff rates, countries, and industries that are going to be targeted as Donald Trump fires this next shot in his global trade war. In terms of the specifics, we heard from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary today, who said that as of this afternoon, Donald Trump was meeting with his advisors to perfect the plan that they're going to unveil tomorrow, brushing aside and denying any claims that, this might not go as according to plan.
They're not going to be wrong. It is going to work. And the president has a brilliant team of advisors who have been studying.
All right. Let's break down what went down on Overtime with Bill Maher, because things got heated. Maher came in swinging, and the panel didn't hold back. The whole episode turned into a fiery debate on politics, democracy, and, you guessed it, the lasting influence of Donald Trump. One standout moment came from MSNBC's Joy Reid. She argued that Trump didn't just bend the rules, he wrecked America's global reputation. In her words, the damage he caused is like a stain that won't come out. And honestly, she's got a point. But this wasn't some unified left versus right thing. Nope. It turned into a full-on progressive civil war. Seth MacFarlane, Adam Gopnik, and Max Brooks all jumped in, debating everything from public distrust in institutions to the daily chaos of political Twitter. And as usual, Maher played both referee and instigator. At one point, he even roasted the left for putting too much faith in Robert Mueller to save democracy. Spoiler, that didn't exactly work out. What made this episode different? It exposed the real divide, not just left versus right, but within the left itself. Everyone agrees Trump disrupted the system, but no one agrees on how to fix it. Sound familiar? Bottom line, real time still brings the raw, unscripted heat. No filters, no safe takes, just real talk. So what do you think? Is Joy Reid right about Trump's lasting impact? Or is the left too caught up in its own
I don't know if we get a full-on prime minister response from Mark Carney. That may have to wait until Thursday. But what do you think it does to the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday portion of week 2 of this election?
Yeah, it's hugely disruptive, no doubt. I think, as we've often said on this panel, it's important to focus on not just the day-to-day iterations of the White House. Tomorrow perhaps should be an exception to that because of the immediacy of these tariff impacts. But I do think there's an opportunity tomorrow, David, for the leaders to talk about what more needs to change about Canada's economy to make sure that we are resilient and self-sufficient. So, of course, I think you're going to have a lot of consistency from the leaders on the immediate tariff response. Both the Liberals and the Conservatives, I believe the New Democrats also have talked about retaliatory measures that need to be in place to respond to this. But quickly, I expect the conversation from voters to turn instead to, okay, who has the plan to make us self-reliant and self-sufficient?
Some Senate Democrats, like Tim Kaine, are making moves to shut this circus down by targeting the so-called national emergency Trump declared at the northern border, the legal loophole he's using to justify tariffs on Canada. And let's be clear, this emergency is about as real as a Bigfoot sighting. Left, right, and everyone in between knows it's a political prop, not a policy necessity. But here's where it gets messy. Even if the Senate passes the resolution to end it, it's mostly for show. Why? Because the House is under Republican control, and Speaker Mike Johnson is glued to Trump like a campaign bumper sticker. The odds of this even making it to a vote are next to zero, and if it does, it's already dead in the water. What we're looking
If there's one thing Overtime with Bill Maher always brings, it's unfiltered, brutally honest conversation. And this episode delivered big time. The hot topic, social media and free speech, with Twitter caught right in the crossfire. The panel dove into the big debate. Should Twitter be a totally open space where anyone can say anything, or does it have a responsibility to step in, especially when powerful figures start spreading misinformation? They focused on Twitter's controversial policy of flagging or labeling political posts that crossed the line. Classic Silicon Valley dilemma. How do you protect free speech without letting harmful content take over? Seth MacFarlane kept it real. He said straight up, if he were running Twitter, he wouldn't have all the answers either. And honestly, same. We all want an open internet, but not one that's overrun with chaos, conspiracy theories, and nonstop rage. Then the conversation zoomed out globally. They looked at places like Iran and China, where Twitter isn't just moderated, it's banned the moment it sparks too much dissent. It's a reminder that what we treat as a policy debate, others see as a threat worth silencing entirely. As usual, Maher called out the double standards. He pointed out how both the left and right flip-flop on free speech, depending on who's talking. 1 minute it's let everyone speak. The next it's ban this person or cancel that voice. No consistency, just tribal reactions. The big takeaway? Social media holds massive power, but the rules for how we use it
to actually go on record what they've all said privately. They're aghast at the tariffs. Canadians got a right to be pissed. We got a responsibility to step up as bipartisan members of the Senate and say no.
All right, now I want to turn it over to you, because your voice in all this matters just as much as what we just unpacked. What do you think about everything we've broken down today? Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs, the potential economic fallout, the way Canada's been pulled into this mess, and the political theater playing out on both sides of the border. Does any of this strike you as smart, strategic policy making? Or does it feel more like another round of reckless disruption that's more about headlines than results? Are these tariffs going to deliver real benefits for working people, or are they just setting the stage for higher prices, trade wars, and more instability? Is this about taking back control, or losing grip on what really matters? I want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Seriously, I read them all. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to vent, I'm always interested in where you stand, especially on issues with stakes this high. Thanks for sticking with me through this full deep dive. If you got something out of it, if it made you think, nod, or even fume, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, and stay loud. See you in the next one.
or who should make those rules are still a total mess. Politicians post recklessly. Tech billionaires try to play referee. Governments want control, and nobody has a real plan. So what do you think? Who should be setting the rules for platforms like Twitter? Or is this all just a new version of the Wild West? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button if you're into real conversations. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns just like this. Catch you in the next one. School. One of the most eye-opening moments in the discussion. When the panel called out how casually people share content online, let's be honest, how many times have you seen someone repost a dramatic headline or a viral video without even checking where it came from? No context, no source, no second thought. In one example, a post that went mega viral actually traced back to a propaganda site tied to a hostile regime. That's not just careless, that's dangerous. And here's the kicker, this isn't some fringe issue. Most people don't fact check. They see something wild, get fired up, and hit share. Boom. That's how misinformation spreads like wildfire. But here's the real question. Can we really blame users when social media platforms are literally built to encourage that behavior? As the panel broke down, these platforms don't reward truth. They reward engagement. Facebook's algorithm? It doesn't care if something is true or total nonsense. It only cares, will this keep you scrolling? And the sad reality is, the more outrageous the post, the better it performs. Misinformation doesn't just sneak by, it thrives in this system. So what do we do? Yes, tech companies need to be held accountable. Big time. But we, the users, also have a responsibility. If we want a smarter, more informed society, we've got to stop blindly sharing everything that shows up on our feeds. That means checking sources, asking questions, thinking twice before you hit that share button. Because the internet gave everyone a voice, and that's powerful. But with that power comes real responsibility. Otherwise, we're letting algorithms decide what we believe. Not truth, not facts, just clicks. So let's keep this conversation going. What do you think? Should social media companies be doing more to stop the spread of misinformation, or is it on us to step up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. Hit that like button if this gave you something to think about, and subscribe so you never miss a breakdown like this. Tap that bell, and I'll see you in the next one.